The Aztecs hit the road for the first time with a big challenge on their hands, facing a Cal team coming off a huge win over SEC powerhouse Auburn. Hello and welcome to Aztecs All In. I'm Weiner along with Steve Perez as the Aztecs try to bounce back after getting shut out at home against Oregon State. Hey, Steve.
Hello, Lewis. This week, Eternal Optimist coach Sean Lewis looks forward to the opportunity on the road against the California Bears.
Coming up on this edition of Aztecs All In, do you remember what happened the last time the Aztecs played Cal? Well, if they could repeat that, Aztecs fans would be very happy.
You see Berkeley favored by 2 touchdowns going into this game, set for 7:30 p.m. on ESPN.
And we'll head to Northern California to hear what Cal quarterback Fernando Mendoza and defensive coordinator Peter Sirman think of this weekend's matchup. But first, Sean Lewis met with the media Monday, and Steve was there. Steve?
Lewis, these two programs last faced off 2016 at the Q. Aztecs winning that shootout 45-40 en route to an 11-3 record that season under Coach Rocky Long. That squad featured Donnell Pumphrey running wild throughout the season. Aztecs that year went on to defeat a Wyoming squad in Laramie, led by Josh Allen, now of the NFL Bills. That one for the Mountain West Conference Championship. This year's squad continues their Aztec fast transition against the Cal team, finding itself in a new conference after last year's crack-up of the Conference of Champions. In the ACC now are the Golden Bears with all those cross-country trips on tap. The series is tied 4 apiece. The home squad has prevailed in every matchup. Coach Lou with some opening thoughts and a bit more on the match in this compilation, including thoughts on avoiding another slow start offensively.
Obviously, lots of missed opportunities that we need to capitalize on offensively, and again, we need to continue to prepare at a really high level and put these kids in the best position to have success with our process as we go through, so that in all 3 phases, we can be on the right side of the ledger against a really, really talented Cal team that's coming off a really big win and playing really confident, and again, going on the road for the very first time, with this club and with our outfit, and seeing how we respond in a hostile environment going up there, and how we travel. So looking forward to all those opportunities that this week presents, and continue to grow and learn together as we move through this journey. Yeah, again, it goes back to us starting fast, and the only way you're able to do that is to be able to prepare at a really high level, right? If we're inconsistent in our preparation, with everyone in the organization, not just the players, but staff as well, if we're inconsistent in that regard, then you're going to have inconsistency in your results that come on Saturday night, right? So everything starts in-house with us, and the way that we prepare and the way that we embrace the tape yesterday, the way that we, are taking care of our bodies on the off day today and handling our schoolwork, and then coming in with the right mindset tomorrow morning, right, to attack the plan, to digest it, and to go execute at a really high level on a Tuesday, so that can happen early on a Saturday as well. It's more of our preparation leading to it, right? Like the results that come on Saturday are the byproduct about how we go through the week, right? And so there's days and there's moments where, we're good in all 3 phases. There's days and there's moments throughout the course of the week where, we got to, kind of jumpstart and be better as we're going through it all and everything, right? So I think when you stack days consistently through that constant repetition and the constant process of preparing at a really high level, then that gives you confidence and conviction going forward, right? So that hey, when these calls are made, we can execute them, right? And that you have a body of evidence through the course of the week that we've executed those calls at a high level, right? And we're not just hoping that things work out well on a Saturday, but that they're going to work out well because you've executed them Tuesday through Friday leading into Saturday, so you have that confidence to go make those plays. It's in all 3 phases with everything that we're doing, right? The lifestyle that this requires, right? The commitment to excellence that this requires. And so, yeah, that is a process that takes time that we know we want to have happen yesterday, like I mentioned, after the game on Saturday, right? But to build this thing the right way, to do it with a solid foundation, and to win, not only now, but for the future long term consistently, like we got to understand the habits and the daily disciplines that this requires day in and day out. And I'm not going to shortcut that, right? And put a Band-Aid over different things. Like, we're going to do this thing the right way and build it out so that we can win this year and into the future. As we continue to learn about the players, that we have in all three phases of the game, just putting them in the best positions to be successful, right? Like knowing and understanding what it is that we do best and, getting our playmakers involved earlier, right? Like I was mad at myself that, it took us to the second half to get LB a target. Like he's a guy that can change the game, and we need to give him opportunities to do that the way that he did sooner in the game. So it's things like that, right? Like making sure that, again, Coops gets the necessary touches that he requires, right? So that he can jumpstart the offense, and just, again, making sure that we're dictating on our terms and that, the defense isn't dictating to us.
It figures to be more high-level defense from this week's opponent, as two Cal Bears defenders were named ACC Players of the Week. Linebacker Teddy Buchanan led the team in tackles against Auburn with 11, including 3 for a loss. A quarterback sack is in that number, and a fumble recovery. Buchanan starting his college career at UC Davis, where he led the team in tackles. He is 6'2", 235, fifth-year senior, and figures to be a disruptive force on defense and one of those guys the Aztecs will need to account for during each offensive set. Defensive back Noel Williams garnered ACC Defensive Back of the Week honors with 2 interceptions. His second a timely one, approaching the 2-minute mark in the game with Auburn needing a score to tie it up. Bottom line, when you can hold an SEC team on the road to just 14 points, you're most likely a pretty decent football team.
They got speed, they have length, they're a connected unit in the back end, they're aggressive to the ball, they take advantage of those opportunities where they can get hands on the balls, and they've been interceptions, right? They fly and overlap each other really, really well, and they got great vision on the cue, and they really do a nice job, especially at the linebacker level. Both their kids, 0 and 10, they do a really good job melting off of the quarterback's eyes and playing underneath in their zone coverage, and then again, when they get their hands on the ball, obviously take advantage of it by not just getting PBUs, but game-changing plays and flipping the field and, getting those turnovers. Cal, it's a really good football team in all three phases. Changed the game in special teams. Again, the defense is very opportunistic, generated numerous turnovers that changed the game. 2 backs that are dynamic, a group of wide receivers that can change the game, a quarterback that's accurate and values the football. They're solid in all 3 phases. And again, are playing with confidence, playing with speed, and having fun doing it. It's going to be huge. It's going to be imperative, right? We've talked all along, the game's won in the trenches. They are about 7-8 deep up front with really, really talented players that have great length, great size. I think it's a byproduct of, again, the time on task that Coach Wilcox has put, into his program. I mean, with where he is in the journey and the way that he's built that out, you can tell along their fronts, especially within, their 4 down, and then with their backers, there's a certain body type that regardless of who it is, you can tell, like, okay, that's the shade, that's the 3-tech, that's the rush. They all look very, very similar. They're all explosive. They're all dynamic. So, yeah, we're going to have our hands full, and we got to rise to the challenge because of the way that we prepare this week so that we're trained and ready for this opportunity that's coming.
Improvement. And the Aztecs offensive line now soldiers on for a second game without starting left tackle Joe Borjon out for the season. Next man up mentality, though. Christian Jones starting his second game at left tackle. And the new left guard on the depth chart for the last couple of games, Miles Moreau, returning letterman. Braden Bryant has started both games at center, as has starting right guard, another returning letterman, Ross Ulugalu Masuli, and right tackle, 5th-year transfer, Nate Williams from Akron. Last week against a stronger opponent, this unit fronted an offense that failed to score and most notably surrendered the football at a key point in that game. Now, Lewis, the stat sheet says that quarterback Danny O'Neal fumbled that ball. But here's what my own 2 eyes told me in taking a second look at my recording of the game on CBS Sports Network. Yes, O'Neal gave up the football, but the root cause from my perspective was the lack of offensive line push on the play. It allowed the defender to penetrate behind the line of scrimmage, blow that play up, jar the ball loose. It also looked to be one of those option plays where he had the opportunity to pitch outside to running back Marcus Cooper, but that was also well defended. I saw at least 2 other defenders in there ready to play that ball if it went to Cooper. The quarterback opted to keep it, cut back inside. There was no space created for him between the tackles. He took a beating during that game. Oregon State's defense pretty much controlled the line of scrimmage most of the night. Long season if that front 5 can't find consistency and hold the line when the Aztecs have the ball. The coach fielded many questions about the young QB and how he held up. He proved his toughness over the course of the night, absorbing more hits than you'd want your QB to take from an opponent. and despite moments where he appeared to be less than 100%. Ultimately, he remained in the game and finished it even when it was clear there was no time left to mount a meaningful comeback. Here's a compilation of Coach Lou's various thoughts on his young QB.
Yeah, I mean, haven't started a kid this young ever, and yeah, the way that he's carried himself, the way that he's, handled the environments that he's been in thus far, and again, all the stress or the pressure that comes with the position, he's not rattled by it. He does a good job with it, and again, that's one of the things that helped him win the job, earn the job, and continue to move through this thing as he continues to grow with it. Yeah, I mean, he was a little bit banged up yesterday, obviously from it all and everything, and haven't seen him yet today with it being the player's day off, and we'll continue to move forward through the week and see how he progresses with it all. But again, he fought hard, through everything, and thought he did a nice job. Like, he continued to grow in those moments with all of it, right? And to make sure that the team knew that we weren't going to quit at the end. And like, we had constant conversation after every single possession, where he was at, what he was feeling, not only with him, but with the medical team, and they continued to guide us through it all. And we all felt, all parties involved, that, hey, we're good to go and let's keep attacking this thing the right way. Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, about how the fortitude that's required, right, to become your best. I mean, shoot, like, there's this guy named Peyton Manning, who I'm pretty sure still holds the record for the most interceptions as a rookie, right? Things didn't go great. Things ended up being okay for him, right? Now, I'm not comparing Danny to Peyton Manning or anything like that, so don't run with that quote, right? But it's one of those things where now, right, like, yeah, there you go. It's probably already out, right? Right? But it's one of those deals now, right, where, again, like, through the test, through the adversity, through the challenges, the obstacle becomes the way. Right, so we're going to go through those obstacles together. We're going to grow as a family together so that he can become the best version of himself.
Yeah, so we get it, Coach. Don't run with that, but hey, the Aztecs could do worse than having a QB who looks up to one of their greatest signal callers who ever played the game.
Steve, the Aztecs and Cal will match up for the 9th time in their history after splitting the first 8 games. And of course, you mentioned their last meeting, that wild 45-40 game in 2016. That was played in front of, would you believe, 42,473 fans at the Q. Those were the days. And yep, Denal Pumphrey had 3 touchdowns, but don't forget the 100-yard kickoff return from Rashad Penny. And the Aztecs won that game despite giving up 604 yards in total offense. This year's Cal team is coming off a huge win at Auburn and playing in the ACC for the first time after the Pac-12 imploded last year. They'll be facing a quarterback in Fernando Mendoza, a redshirt sophomore out of Miami, Florida, who finished 25 of 36 against Auburn for 233 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mendoza says the Aztecs defense will look familiar to him because of SDSU's new defensive coordinator, Eric Schmidt.
So the San Diego State defense, their DC came from Washington last year, and scheme-wise, as you guys know, and I hate to say this, but Washington defense-wise, they schemed us up pretty well last year. So we're just seeing a lot of tendencies with their coverages and their pressures that we saw last year, similar to Washington, a little bit more zone in the San Diego State defense. Personnel-wise, I think that they have a really good defense, really scrappy. I see their defense is really scrappy. After every play, you always see them kind of get on top of the guy they tackle and either do a gesture or it looks like they're exchanging some words. So I'm looking forward to that game. San Diego State, another California school. I know our team has a ton of connections as kids on the defense, have played for schools like Mater Dei, Centennial, that I've asked a ton of our DBs and just other players about their and how they play as players and their tendencies. So it's definitely going to be an exciting game. I really like their defense, and I think it's going to be a good game.
Steve, Cal was impressive on both sides of the ball against Auburn, coming up with 5 takeaways, including 4 interceptions, and without turning over the ball themselves. They now have 7 picks in 2 games. Plus, on offense, they spread the ball to 9 different receivers. Cal's defense will be going up against Sean Lewis's slow-to-develop Aztec-advanced offense, led by true freshman quarterback Danny O'Neal and running back Marquez Cooper, who is now over 4,000 yards for his career with more than 30 touchdowns. Meeting today with the media in Northern California, Cal defensive coordinator Peter Sirman spoke highly of both players.
Talk about a fun player to watch. He really just looks like he kind of embodies the football mentality. He's got great balance. He is a vertical player. He tries, he runs horizontal, but first opportunity to get vertical, he runs behind his pads. He's reckless in terms of how hard he plays, takes care of the ball, but he's a physical runner, and you can see why he's been so productive. I think I'd read somewhere almost 4,000 yards in career rushes, so that's exceptional.
More than 4,000 now, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's exceptional. He's a fun player to watch, not a fun player to get ready for. Well, based on watching a tremendous amount of Sean Lewis offense from where he's been, I think there's a lot more that he is probably growing that program into. I actually watched his press conference, and I thought he did a fantastic job of communicating what his vision is for his team. He was very insistent on the preparation and how the guys walk into the building, and he was very process-oriented. So you can, just listening to and gain a little bit of glimpse of how he speaks. He has great things ahead in his mind for that program. And, it takes time. And, to develop in a program, develop players in a program, that doesn't happen overnight. He does have a very developed system of offense as you go back and study him through the years, and I think he'll continue to grow that. I expect an up-tempo operation, heavy in the run, heavy in the RPO tags, and then he's going to push the ball down the field. There's a tremendous amount of evidence of him pushing the ball down the field, taking his shots, and being aggressive as a play caller. So those are the things that I'm expecting that we've seen for the first two games, and then just going through and kind of studying what he's done offensively and kind of the mindset which he seems to display on game days. Unbelievably poised in the pocket, has a nice tight throwing motion. The ball can get out of his hands very, very quickly, which will lend him to being a difficult RPO guy, because he can get the fancy, it's not NFL draft season, but the different angles, the different arm angles and all the fun stuff the quarterback gurus talk about. He can spin the ball that way. He's an effective runner, and he typically makes really good decisions on some of the keeps and some of the gives. But I think he's a poised player. He throws a really, really nice ball. Does have an opportunity to push the ball downfield. And I think he had a couple throws that were almost 60 in the air. So I think he's a very arm-talented player that's continuing to develop in the system.
Cal runs a balanced offense. Against Auburn, the Golden Bears ran 70 offensive plays, 36 passes, and 34 runs. On the ground, though, Cal averaged just 2.9 yards per carry. But Cal's offensive coordinator, Mike Bloesch, says it's the running game that's key to what they do on offense.
For us to do what we want to do offensively and really get this thing going, we have to establish the run game. And that's it involves everybody. I mean, there was a run that probably nobody really remembers in the second or first or second quarter where Jet bounced it and the corner fell off of the receiver. When we had man coverage, we really should have just outside released it, and Jet's probably down the sideline for a 40-yard touchdown. So, it's all 11 guys buying into that. It's me doing a better job of putting our guys in position schematically, and then it's those guys having a mentality, which is what I thought we really grew into last year. Is like we had a mentality that we were going to be able to run the football. The one positive I'd say from week 1 to week 2 in the run game was our efficiency in short yardage. I think we were 6 of 6 against Auburn on 3rd and 1 or 2. Some of those were passes, some of those were runs, but being able to convert in those short yardage situations was really big for us staying on the field.
So, Steve, the Aztecs under Sean Lewis hit the road for the first time, and they will go into Memorial Stadium prohibitive underdogs, with Cal favored by 19 points. We, of course, will have much more in our post-game edition of Aztecs All In following the game.
All right, that'll wrap up this edition of Aztecs All In. Don't forget, you can follow us on the X, Aztecs_all_in. And you can check in with us via the Google, sending email to aztecsallin@gmail.com. So for Louis Weiner, this is Steve Perez saying thanks for checking us out, and we will talk to you again soon.